In July 2010, a UX designer called Harry Brignell registered a website domain under the name of darkpatterns.org. That day, he brought to life a phenomenon in user experience design called dark patterns, a deceptive way of designing software applications to trick you into taking actions that you don't mean to take, all in return for a gain in business. Things like signing up for a service or buying things that you don't intend to buy. If you visit darkpatterns.org today, it would redirect you to a different domain called www.deceptive.design. Even though the name has changed to make the term more inclusive, the idea is the same. Here, you can read more about most commonly used dark patterns, but more interestingly, you can go through this list. This is an up-to-date list of dark patterns used by famous digital products. You might be surprised by how common these practices are. At this point, you might be asking yourself, isn't this just a modern way of companies trying to sell their products? After all, throughout history, companies have used deceptive marketing and clever way of selling their products that are sometimes ethically questionable. And you might be right here, but there is a difference. While the goal remains the same, the imbalance of power has increased. The users are at a bigger disadvantage when dealing with a computer than when dealing with a real human. Let's take the example of a dark pattern called Roach Motel. This is a pattern where a product makes it very easy for the user to enter into a situation, but painfully hard to get out. For instance, a product might make it very easy for you to subscribe to their service, but extremely difficult to unsubscribe. To put this into practice, let's say Tom wants to sign up for a cable TV service. In a world where there is no internet, all he has to do is to physically go to a shop and sign a contract to subscribe to that service. All the terms and conditions for canceling the contract are given to him at that point. Now it's totally possible for a company to make the contract so confusing that Tom ends up signing up for something that is harder for him to cancel later on. But that's the extent of it. The company doesn't know anything about Tom. They can, at best, guess what might be confusing to their customers and try to exploit that. In the end, Tom can always ask questions and sense deception when dealing with a real human. Once he intends to cancel the service, he would go to the same physical store and repeat the process. Everything he's dealing with is tangible and in his control. Let's translate the same experience to a software product now. Let's say this time, Tom wants to subscribe to a streaming service online. In essence, the goal is the same. That is, to subscribe to service. But this time, the means are different. Instead of going to a physical shop, Tom has to visit a website and sign up for the service. However, Tom might not even know what he is signing up for. There is no physical object that he is looking at. He might as well be accepting 20 pages of terms and conditions hidden behind a checkbox that is placed exactly where users don't look. This time, there is no guesswork involved. Tom is dealing with a computer, which knows exactly what the blind spots for its users are, how long before they cognitively give up before agreeing to something, and how and where they click. When it's time to cancel his contract, Tom could end up endlessly searching for the right place to do it. He might not even find a way to get help. As an example, here's a website for booking flights called Opodo. The service shows up first when you search for a flight from, let's say, Berlin to London on Google. The very website once deceptively tricked me into booking a flight by hiding information during the booking process, a dark pattern similar to bait and switch. Once I tried to change the flight, there was no help to be found. A few of the most commonly searched keywords with Opodo are customer service telephone number, and so on. A clear case of Roach Motel, where users are eased into making the booking, but it is painfully impossible for them to make an exit. In the digital world, things that may look like marketing tactics or poorly executed user experience design in reality are much more complex than that. They are usually intentional decisions that are based on learned user behaviors through tools like A/B testing and tracking. When every action of user is trackable, it is much easier to get insights into how people think and design products that actively exploit those weaknesses.